Welcome back to PlayStation Access and to our top 10 lists, designed to guide you through PS4's huge library of amazing games. This week we have a big one, the top 10 must-play PlayStation 4 exclusives. These are games that push boundaries across multiple genres, state-of-the-art experiences from the best-in-class teams at both PlayStation Studios and other third-party developers, games that basically make PS4 our absolute favourite. And with that in mind, our first entry is Marvel's Spider-Man, a game that, simply put, is everything we could have wished for. Combat is fast, fluid and intuitive, enabling you to hurl flying chunks of debris at one enemy while punching 3 others and trash-talking the rest all at once. In fact, thumping villains feels so good, it might actually fool you into thinking, hey, my reactions are so quick, maybe I could be a crime-fighting superhero in real life. And that's the trick, isn't it? Making you feel like an actual superhero by translating your button prompts into the kind of on-screen action that wouldn't look out of place in a movie. Marvel's Spider-Man does this with traversal too, as you hurl yourself across a beautifully realised open-world Manhattan with the same graceful exuberance we've seen countless times on the silver screen. This sprawling web of skyscrapers and bright lights is essentially your playground. You own this place. These towers aren't for living in, they're for you to launch yourself from on your way to beating up the next gang of wrongdoers. The fact there's an original and emotionally affecting Spider-Man story woven into all this just makes the experience even more special. You don't just feel like Spider-Man, you feel like Peter Parker too. It would have been so easy for Insomniac Games to make Marvel's Spider-Man just about the suit, but they didn't. It's also about the man underneath, his journey, his relationships, and how those shape your actions. And yeah, it's also about jump kicking 15 men on a rooftop and then hanging them upside down to think about what they've done.
Oops, guess we're stuck in here for a while. Want to play 20 questions? No? How about we thumb one? Okay, face punch it is.
If there wasn't a Gran Turismo game on this list, would it even count? Polyphony's peerless racing sim has graced every PlayStation console since PS1, and PS4's offering, GT Sport, continues that legacy with cars that somehow look even better than real life. Meticulous handling that will send arcade tourists into the gravel at the first corner, and most importantly, an emphasis on online competitive racing backed by the actual FIA. It's always been testament to just how good Gran Turismo is that in-game skills are directly transferable to real-life racing, with more than a few players going on to find success in actual motorsport, and GT Sport is no exception. But then, even if you're a casual player, there's loads of fun to be had in mastering your favourite car. As of the latest free update, you can choose from over 300 fully licensed vehicles and flooring it around your favourite track, of which there are more than 80. Simply put, if you've got the slightest interest in cars, even if you just like looking at nicely rendered interior upholstery, seriously, I can smell that new car smell. You need GT Sport in your life.
Persona 5 Royal, the game that turned what was arguably the best JRPG of all time, the original Persona 5, into arguably the best JRPG of all time and then some. The some being badass new member of the Phantom Thieves, Kasumi.
I'll end this right now.
An expanded story and a bunch of new gameplay additions, our favourite of which is the Thieves' Den, a customisable hangout for your obscenely well-dressed high school heroes. You've probably heard this from Persona zealots countless times, but please, if you haven't yet, play this game. Yes, it's turn-based. Yes, it's over 100 hours long. Yes, you spend long stretches of it performing outwardly mundane tasks like tidying your room, riding the subway and making coffee, but it really is the slickest, coolest, most sharply written game you'll ever play. You'll get to know these characters deeply, share in their pain and their joy, and best of all, dress up like it's the Matrix but with fashion sense while infiltrating the mind palaces of abusive adults and reshaping their rotten souls from within. And if that doesn't make you want to play it, well, I'm afraid we just can't be friends. There's a talking cat that turns into a van. How about that?
I am not a cat.
You're a cat. Next entry.
The Last of Us Part 2 is lots of things at the same time. It's a beautifully crafted world of ruin and persistence. It's an anxious stealth horror. It's a remorseless, narrow-eyed revenge thriller. It's a remorseless, narrow-eyed revenge thriller that deconstructs itself and forces us into a reckoning with our own motivations and biases. It's a stark, lethal shooter. It's a love story. It's a consistently astonishing collection of carefully designed details and environments. It's a showcase of brilliant performances. It's a game about music and the stars and regret. It's unlike anything else, and you must play it.
Get off me!
Sticking with Naughty Dog, I remember in 2016 waiting for Uncharted 4 to come out, wondering how Naughty Dog could ever top or even just match what had come before. Of course they did it though, with best-in-class writing and performance capture, with a typically Indiana Jones-esque action-adventure that chucks you across tropical islands, wild Madagascar, secret pirate lairs and Scotland, and also with set pieces of such quality and wild imagination you were left to wonder exactly how they'd made it all happen on something as humble as a Blu-ray disc. They did it with mud graphics too, by the way, the squelchiest, stickiest, brownest mud I've ever had the pleasure of being dragged across by a marauding convoy of treasure-hunting mercenaries. But all that explosive visual stuff only works because at its core, Uncharted 4 is such a good story. Nathan Drake was already a PlayStation legend by this point, and seeing his 9-year journey reach its poignant conclusion alongside fan favourites Elena and Sully and new boy Sam is making my bottom lip go all wobbly even now. This is an adventure full of heart and spectacle, where you'll be eating a salad bowl 1 minute and then dangling over a 50-foot waterfall the next. A game that mixes open-ended combat with intricate puzzles and beyond epic vehicle chases, and one we never wanted to end. Seriously though, have you seen that mud? Was there a mud manager? There must have been a mud manager.
What? Is that it?
You asked for it.
Our next game is Bloodborne, and it is a gift. The game that proves Dark Souls was not a one-off. Not just because From Software's signature gameplay loops and hooks remain compelling, lots of other games have borrowed these for lesser effect, but because Bloodborne is the one game that conjures a lore, a set of ideas, world myths and obsessions that match the compelling mysteries of Lordran. This is what gives Bloodborne its tantalising, magnetic quality, the sense that you're venturing further and further into the depths of some half-remembered, red-hued dream. It's the thing that stops Bloodborne from being a really good game and makes it an authentic masterpiece, a fit of form and fleetingly glimpsed meaning that will have you pondering its images and imagined places long after you've woken from its clutches.
When The Last Guardian arrived on PS4 in December of 2016, anticipation and expectation was high, to put it mildly. The legacy of game director Fumito Ueda and the team at Japan Studio was such that we all braced ourselves for a game of beautiful anguish. The Last Guardian was going to make us fall in love with Trico, the game's iconic hybrid star, and then make something terrible happen to the creature, the kind of fate that would add extra knots to the deep emotional scars left behind by spiritual predecessors Eco and Shadow of the Colossus. No spoilers here, but somehow The Last Guardian managed to surpass our every expectation. At its core, the game is about a relationship between boy and beast, one that transcends language, a bond you feel rather than see or hear. In Trico and the boy, there are certainly echoes of Eco and Yorda, of Wanda and Aggro, but The Last Guardian takes this concept and lets it soar. The story of these characters is written not in words but in animation, in environmental detail, in Trico's eyes and voice, in the physical contact between the pair that starts out timid and even fearful, but by the end has blossomed into something strong and assured. In a way, this kind of mimics the player's journey with Trico, as you gradually learn to trust this fusion of bird, cat and dog, flinging you through puzzles in an intimidating castle ruin. There is nothing else like The Last Guardian, and you simply have to play it.
There are other open world games on this list. Perfecting the open world adventure seems to have been a feature of this generation, but none of them are quite like Days Gone. It's a bit of a throwback in some ways. While other games on this list wrestle with the extremes of human emotion from a diverse range of perspectives, Days Gone stars Deacon St. John, army veteran and motorcycle outlaw, a double threat old school hero now surviving in a post-outbreak world. More than any game on this list, Days Gone was embraced by fans more affectionately than by critics, a seal of sleeper hit authenticity earned by the abundance of straightforward fun the game offers. Don't get me wrong, there's artistry and sophistication here too. The world of Days Gone, the sublime in real-life Pacific Northwest, is wonderfully captured. But the core of it is stuff that feels good, like riding your motorcycle, which gets more pleasing as it's upgraded, or the combat, which starts simple and grows to encompass stealth, crafting, traps, and brutal melee weapons. And Days Gone's signature triumph, the Freaker Hordes, the tech-pushing, panic-inducing swarms of infected enemies that, crucially, not only make an impact, but make for thrilling episodes of frantic gameplay too. So there are other open worlds on PS4, but not like this one.
It's the year 2020. Damn, it really is, isn't it? Like this video if you're watching it from a future where you've escaped this infernal 12 months. It's the year 2020, and I'm convinced I have no more wishes for video games to fulfill. We've had a remake of the best game of all time. We've been a cowboy. We've been Batman. We've played Skyrim for the 17th time. What else is there? Oh look, it's live footage of Ghost of Tsushima setting fire to my expectations and then chopping their head off. Sorry, Ghost of Tsushima, because I really didn't realise how much I wanted a game about being a samurai set in the most beautiful open world I've ever seen until you showed up and gave it to me. This is wonderful stuff from Sucker Punch, a studio that started the generation with infamous Second Son and now finishes it with this, a gorgeous, unique adventure with wonderful combat, memorable characters and what has to be the best use of bloom lighting we've ever seen. In fact, it's so good that when I'm not gawping at it in photo mode, I'm riding my horse slowly through the golden forest, watching sunlight reaching through the leaves, or, my favourite, playing Jin's reed flute while walking through a field of swaying grass. There's a revenge story and amazing set pieces and all that lovely stuff, but really this is a game about looking at and listening to a beautiful place. Tsushima Island is like no game world we've ever explored. It guides you with blowing leaves and warbling birds, gently pulls you towards gorgeous meadows of colourful flowers like some kind of benevolent siren, and then, just for a treat, it lets you cut down hordes of Mongol invaders like you're something out of a classic samurai movie. I've played over 100 hours of Ghost of Tsushima now, and doing this is still not boring.
Really, the only thing you need to know about God of War is that they brought God of War back, and if anything, they made it better than before. Back in 2005, when the original was released for PS2, Kratos had everything a video game hero needed to succeed. Really big knives literally grafted onto his body and a reservoir of anger potent enough to fuel the murder of actual gods. Modern day Kratos retains the combat prowess and furious tendencies but introduces nuance. Kratos isn't always angry, or he is, but sometimes he hides it. He doesn't always fight. And he doesn't just have a dead family, he has a living one, way harder to deal with, narratively, and which gives him something to live and work for himself. Suddenly, Kratos has extra dimensions, and so does the game around him, no longer built from linear lanes of slaying, but a vast open world which tours the new Norse pantheon and gives the expanded fighting mechanics, character customization, and storytelling the space to expand and shine. God of War is everything a must-play exclusive should be. An epic, beautiful, and compelling revival of a legacy PlayStation title. And that's our top 10 list of must-play PS4 exclusives, which means it's time for you to get into the comments and tell us which ones you're furious with us for missing out. Until Dawn? How could we? Ratchet & Clank? That should maybe have gone on. Yeah, we might need another list. Give this video a like if you enjoyed it, and subscribe if you haven't already for more videos like this one.
PlayStation